President Trump soon is landing in California. Governor Gavin Newsom, as he calls him, he'll be greeting him, and Trump said, I don't know why he's there. I didn't invite him. So I think with that as a background, Mr. Producer, if we can get a live line into that, if it happens, we'll see what is said. We'll listen in, ladies and gentlemen, if we can get that done. I think we can. Well, we have a vote, I think, later tonight on the confirmation of Pete Hegseth. And there's 4 Republicans in play. I'm wrong about that. There's 2 Republicans who have announced they will not. Collins and Murkowski. Sacco and Vanzetti of the Republican Party. And in doing so, they are undermining American national security, of course, because we need him in there right now as defense secretary. So they don't use the advise and consent provision in the Constitution to advise and consent. They use that provision in order to delay, sabotage, and undermine, even when it comes to a Secretary of Defense. And they came up with a phony letter this last time, or affidavit, if you will, and it was so preposterous, nobody's buying it, except those who want to. Who are the other 2, Mark? Mitch McConnell, we're still not clear what he's going to do. The suggestion earlier was that he would vote for Hegseth. And then, of course, we have this guy, Tom Tillis, out of North Carolina. Apparently, he's not sure. He's not sure. Well, we shall see what Tom Tillis does. Because apparently it's in his hands as to whether or not Pete Hegseth is confirmed or not. I don't know what his problem is, Tom Tillis, but that's, again, something we will watch for the next 3 hours. We'll keep a very close eye. There's a lot going on today and this evening, so we will be watching all of it as carefully as we can. There was a story that kind of broke yesterday. I didn't have time to get to it because, again, there was so much going on. And that's these 2 former Politico reporters, Mark Caputo and Tara Palmieri, now of Puck. Excuse you? Puck, P-U-C-K. The Palmieri's podcast. And they said, look, we were told by Politico we're not to write about the laptop. Excuse me? No, you're not around the Hunter laptop. By the way, this whole cover-up on the Hunter laptop, it's not just Politico, it's the Washington Post, the New York Times, the whole kit and caboodle. But I thought it would be worthwhile if you heard actually what these 2 reporters said, because it further underscores that we do not have a free press when it comes to the corporate platform press. Politico was started many years ago to create a new platform. It was started by a few the Washington Compost reporters, and it is as bad as the Washington Compost. The bad habits remain the bad habits. So let's check this out. These 2 reporters. Cut 16, go.
Another great example when Politico did that terrible, ill-fated headline. 51 intelligence agents or former intelligence agents say that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation.
Right.
Or bore the hallmarks of disinformation. Turns out that story was closer to disinformation because the Hunter Biden laptop appeared to be true.
But then Facebook also pulled all
right, we're going to pull
down.
this back right away. President Trump's coming to the cameras, and as soon as he speaks, we want to go. Here we go.
A little while ago, we have that in very good shape. We have the congressman in charge and Michael Watley, and we're going to do a lot of work. We have the Army Corps of Engineers working as they are here. And I think you're going to see some very big progress. They left them high and dry. And now we're going to be taking a little tour with some of the people from the area. I appreciate the governor coming out and meeting me, Kevin. Thank you very much. And we'll be talking a little bit. We want to get it fixed. We want to get the problem fixed. And there'll be some ways, but it's like you got hit by a bomb, right?
Yeah.
Like you got hit by a bomb. Would you like to say something?
Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated. We're going to need your support. We're going to need your help. You were there for us during COVID. I don't forget that. And I have all the expectations that we'll be able to work together to get this speedy recovery.
We will. We're going to get it done. Tremendous numbers of lives have been affected. A lot of real estate's been affected. Nobody's ever probably seen anything like this. You can almost say since the Second World War, when you think of it. I mean, nothing like this has happened. And we're going to get it fixed, so we'll get it permanently fixed, so it can't happen again. And again, we'll be talking a little bit later, and we'll get it worked out, okay?
I appreciate it, Mr. President.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Both of you have disagreed a lot over the past week over what has happened in this state. How do you plan to...
We got to get it finished. We're looking to get something completed. And the way you get it completed is to work together. It's the governor of the state. And we're going to get it completed. They're going to need a lot of federal help. Unless you don't need any, which would be okay.
We're going to need a lot of federal help.
So we're going to take care of things. Okay?
You know, I have the comment here. This guy gets all dressed up, this idiot governor, all dresses up for the French Laundry, whatever the hell that is, and then he meets the President of the United States and he's wearing jeans. Right, Mr. Producer? The guy's got no class. They're done. No class whatsoever. That's the way it goes, I suppose. Really grotesque. Anyway, let's start at the top again now, if we may, with this issue of Politico telling its two reporters not to cover the Hunter laptop. You know this, folks? This is going on all over the place, going on all the time. Go.
Another great example when Politico did that terrible, ill-fated headline. 51 intelligence agents or former intelligence agents say that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation.
Right.
Or bore the hallmarks of disinformation. Turns out that story was closer to disinformation because the Hunter Biden laptop appeared to be true.
But then Facebook also pulled all stories down about the Hunter Biden laptop, and I think Twitter did at the same time, too.
Correct.
Yeah.
They punished the New York Post. It didn't help. I mean, Politico, my former employer, and I knew at the time, didn't do itself any favors. I was covering Biden at the time, and I remember coming to my editor and saying, hey, we need to write about the Hunter Biden laptop. And I was told this came from on high at Politico. Don't write about the laptop. Don't talk about the laptop. Don't tweet about the laptop. And the only thing Politico wound up writing was that piece that called it disinformation, which charitably could be called misinformation at the least.
Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time. You know, I wrote some pretty serious reporting on Hunter Biden, which actually ended up getting him prosecuted, the story on the gun.
Yeah, and I remember you consulted with me because you did the original report on the gun. And you came to me like, how do I write about this? I'm like, honestly, I don't know.
Because it was hard to get it done.
You figured it out. Yeah.
I spent three months on it. I went to the laptop shop and I did all of the reporting in Delaware, and I did all of that. But yeah, it had to be like it had to be 100% nailed down. I had everything, the police reports, I'm a solid reporter, but I do wonder if it would have been published a little quicker if it was a different type of story.
Well, since we're spilling tea about our former employer, I still have a copy of the story on my external hard drive. In 2019, a rival presidential Democratic campaign of Joe Biden's gave to me the tax lien, the Oppo research, the tax lien on Hunter Biden for the period of time that he worked at Burisma. And I wrote what would have been a classic story saying, the former vice president's son was slapped with a big tax lien for the period of time that he worked for this controversial Ukrainian oil concern or natural gas concern, which is haunting his father on the campaign trail. That story was killed by the editors. And they gave no explanation for that either.
Interesting.
So that general experience,
All right, stop there. That's two stories they killed, right, Mr. Producer? Two. It's incredible. Politico. What a joke. Go ahead.
Things, but as a reporter, having witnessed the way in which the two candidates
we just get called like the terrible mainstream media. It's like you don't understand the process there.
We also don't understand the dumb decision of cowardly editors.
The man above us when we're trying to do our jobs. You know what I mean? We're just looking for scoops, man.
The big bias is toward a good story.
You hear about this with Politico, and it's the same mindset throughout the left-wing media. This was going on and worse at CNN and MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post. That's why they're rising up at the Washington Post. They're rising up at the New York Times. The Post especially, they don't like the idea that Bezos told them, hey, we need some balance in this thing. How dare you? We're not going to endorse any candidate. That would include Kamala Harris. They got some resignations. The guy that owns the LA Times out there, the same damn thing. The newsrooms are controlled by these leftist kooks. These leftist kooks. New York Times is a very bad newspaper in this regard. Very, very bad newspaper. And so a combination of things has happened now in the media framework. There's a revolution going on of sorts. That doesn't mean that they're going to roll over and play dead. But they're not making any money. CNN has to lay people off, even though the sugar daddy, the multinational corporation that owns them, can do whatever it wants to. But they've just laid off a bunch of people. I believe they're moving Jim Acosta, who is a non-reporter, big-mouth leftist, to midnight or something. I'm going to resign. Why do you have to threaten to resign? Just resign. Just leave and see if anybody gives a you-know-what. They got fake Jake Tapper there. They got Wolf Blitz there. They've got what a bunch of boring, monotonous Hamas mouthpieces they have there. And then you look at MSNBC. MSNBC is effectively... Well, what can we call this? MSNBC is effectively like BLM, but white. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Producer? Sort of a white BLM. There's sort of a white lives matter, if you will. That's what they kind of are over there. Well, they have a BLM type here and there, but I mean, mostly it's a WLM type. I mean, look at the main lineup. You've got... at night especially. Rachel Maddow, last time I checked, she's white. Lawrence O'Donnell, white. What else you got there? I don't even track it that closely. You got, who else? You get that whole lineup. Not many blacks, right? Not many minorities at all. I mean, at least CNN at some point had a Hamas-supporting host, right? No, that was MSNBC. They had a Hamas-supporting host. Was actually out of the closet. But if you look what's happening to these media organizations, putting aside the sugar daddies that own them, they are hurting, and they are hurting badly. The Washington Post has really minimal subscribers. They've lost enormous percentage of subscribers. You see, even liberals, I don't mean radical Marxist leftists, I mean even sort of mainstream old-time liberals, they still don't want to be lied to. They still don't want to be lied to. I mean, they're knee-jerk in many ways, but they don't want to be lied to. They don't want to read, newspapers that don't tell them the truth. Here you have a cover-up of several stories at Politico. Politico should go out of business. It's not in the news business. A cover-up. We've seen the same thing with the other media when it came to the laptop, the New York Times. Anyway, I think it's good that these two reporters have come forward. They may be liberal, they may be Democrat, but at least they have some ounce of integrity. And that's the way it used to be. We always knew the media were liberal 40, 50, 60 years ago. But these hosts and these news reporters tried to kind of put it aside. They tried. But today it's out of the closet. They hired Democrats. They hired Democrat staffers. You got Psaki there. You got all kinds of people there. I mean, out of the Clinton administration, Obama administration, they populate the whole damn thing.